Good morning and welcome to another episode of La Comadre Live. Today we're joined by a very wonderful man over in Northern California by the name of Joseph DiSalvo, and we are actually doing a series of education champions, and he is our first one. So congratulations, yay, Joe. We've heard so many good things about you, the work that you're doing in Santa Clara County on the office, on the Board of Education there. So we're going to hear from him. Now we're going to hear from, we have a parent on board, Adelita Gomez Alvarez. She's here with us to also talk about some of the things that she's experienced in education in that area, and especially with Trustee DiSalvo. And of course, we have our comadre and my faithful tocaya, Leti Gomez, authorship parent for many years, a strong advocate, lobbyist, and also supporter of Trustee DiSalvo. So welcome all of you to La Comadre Live.
Thank you.
We started.
Buenos días, everyone.
Buenos días.
Vamos a tratar de traducir un poco. Tenemos el, how do you say board trustee?
De la mesa directiva del condado de Santa Clara, el señor DiSalvo.
Y estamos felicitándole por ser un campeón para educación para los niños, para nuestros niños en la área de Santa Clara. So we're going to be hearing from Joe, but I think the first thing I want to do is actually hear from Adelita. She has an experience with how they met, and she wants to talk a little bit about why she thinks that he is, in fact, an education champion for kids, her kids, and all others. So, Adelita, tell us about your experience with Joe.
I think that I first met Joe DiSalvo about 4 years ago, close to 4 years ago, when I was working with a group of parents trying to open a brand new charter school called Promise Academy. At that time, my son was in grade, and gosh, I don't know, my daughter was pretty little still. And, at that time, it was my first time really getting involved in a political way. I had never realized how political education can be until that point. And it was, Joe DiSalvo was a big part of helping me as a parent find the confidence to keep fighting for what I felt was right for my kids, because the local district that I'm a part of has been underserving kids for a long time. And so he really was, he really gave us as a parent group, I think, a lot of hope and a lot of courage to fight for our children, for our families, and for what we felt was best. And in the 4 years since then, I've worked with other various groups, and I've always gotten that consistent messaging from him. And so that's why I'm here today, because as a leader, Joe DiSalvo has really helped to promote that in me as a mom. And so I really appreciate him.
Adelita estaba compartiendo que una de las razones que ella apoya al señor DiSalvo para que se siga en la mesa directiva del condado de Santa Clara es porque en su distrito local ha fallado a ella y a sus familias por varios años, y ella estaba luchando por una escuela mejor en su comunidad, y es cuando ella conoció al señor DiSalvo, y es cuando ella se inspiró por él, porque él la inspiró a que siguiera luchando y abogando por la educación de sus hijos. Entonces, ella lo admira mucho y admira que toma el tiempo para los padres y para enseñarnos a los padres que tenemos el poder para hacer un cambio para la educación mejor de nuestros hijos.
Yeah, and I love what you said about how he's empowered you to fight for your kids, but it's sad to me that we have to use the words fight for our kids, and that we have to acknowledge how truly political this is, and even more so now. But it's great to have champions that support parents, that support our kids. And tell us, what was the outcome and where your kids are now?
That school was called Promise Academy. We went through, we tried to open this new school. We got denied at the district. At the county, we got a 3-3 split vote. Joe DiSalvo voted for us. And that was a really, really contentious hearing. It was, we definitely did not get a good experience from some of those board members. And as parents, to feel belittled by some and then so encouraged by others, it was just such a difference in experiences in that same moment, which was crazy. And we ended up going to the state, and Joe DiSalvo went to the state and spoke in support of us, as did Grace Ma. And we ended up getting a unanimous yes in support of opening our school, because it was they had a great plan. We had a great plan. It was going to be an amazing school. We ended up not being able to open that school after a 2-year-long battle with the local district over Prop 39 facilities and some really underhanded actions by the district. And so Promise Academy was approved and never got to be. And it was a really political situation and a really heartbreaking situation. And it still affects me today.
Right. Because, yeah, I mean, I can imagine.
So, nomás para traducir poco lo que dijo Adelita, que lo que pasó con la escuela es, y algo que dijo mi tocaya al principio, es de que es mucha lástima de que tenemos que luchar para que nuestros hijos reciban una educación que merecen. Esa es una triste realidad que tenemos que luchar, porque todos deberían de recibir la alta calidad de educación en todas partes de nuestro país. Y entonces, lamentablemente, la escuela con que Adelita estaba trabajando para abrir fue negada por el condado de Santa Clara. Algunos miembros de la mesa directiva del condado de Santa Clara trataron mal a los padres en el sentido, en las formas los comentarios que decían, no tomaron los padres con el poder que tiene. Pero sin embargo, Joe DiSalvo es uno de los señores de la mesa directiva que él sí apoyó a los padres, inspiró a los padres y les dio el respeto que merecen todos los padres, y él sí votó por esa escuela. Lamentablemente no pasó, tuvieron que ir al estado, sí se aprobó para abrirse, pero como hay mucha política en la educación, el distrito local de San José negó que se abra la escuela por no proponer lo que se tenía que hacer por ley, la proposición 39. Hicieron más cosas políticos, ataques en contra de la escuela y no se pudo abrir.
Yeah, and we can see that it's still, a very painful situation for parents. I'm sure Adelita's not the only one that feels that way. She was able to put her kids in different schools and have some success with them for now. But the fact that you have to, reach out to your local board members when there's a situation like this that arises, you expect them, because you are the constituent, you are the person that is being represented by the individuals on the board. That's how it's supposed to work. And they're supposed to be a champion for your voice. Mm-hmm. Supposed to say, Adelita, what can I do for you and your children? And then follow through. And it is really sad, because so many people who are on the Board of Education throughout the state, they forget and they start to abuse their power, and they start to do things that are contrary to what they were initially elected to do. And so we have found that in the terms that Trustee DiSalvo has been there, that he's been consistent. Mm-hmm. Consistent and making sure that kids have access to quality education, and making sure that he is working with parents and the community, even when it's not the popular thing to do. And that is a sign of a true good character and good person and good leadership. So, Letty, if you want to just kind of...
Yes. Mi tocaya estaba nomás compartiendo que, es algo que la experiencia que pasó Adelita y otros padres que también estaban trabajando con ella, de que no se pudo lograr esa meta, pero la tristeza de que hay personas que cuando toman asientos a la mesa, que tienen el poder, abusan de ese poder y no están haciendo lo que es correcto o lo que es la necesidad que necesitan los estudiantes, las familias, sino se involucran mucho en lo que es lo político y el interés personal que uno está buscando. Entonces, ese abuso al poder es lo que nos afecta a nosotros las familias, pero tenemos que seguir luchando y tenemos que seguir peleando para poder a tener ese acceso para que nuestros estudiantes tengan la mejor educación posible. El señor DiSalvo ha sido constante en todos sus años que ha servido en esa mesa directiva de no caer en lo que es lo político, sino que él está realmente luchando para ser la voz de todas las familias y en especial de estos estudiantes que no están recibiendo una educación adecuada, sino él quiere ayudar a cerrar la brecha académica que ha estado en existencia desde que nosotros estábamos en la escuela. Entonces, este problema ha sido por generaciones y él ha sido constante en luchar para que se mejore el sistema, para que no siga afectando a nuestros estudiantes de bajos ingresos, a nuestros estudiantes latinos, a nuestros estudiantes de color, para que realmente reciban la educación que se merecen. Y él ha sido constante en apoyar y también en asegurar y no caer en lo que todos los demás digan. Y a veces cuando estamos luchando y yendo contra lo que es lo normal, según es lo que nos atacan a veces, pero él es constante en apoyando a todas nuestras familias.
Thank you. Yeah. And I'm reading the comments, and there are several parents here from your community who are joining us this morning. And some of the things they're saying make me very sad. For example, that the parents of charter school children are treated sort of in a less than way than the traditional students, which I think is so wrong. Like, these are parents. As a parent, you're just looking for the proper opportunity for your child. All kids are different. They all learn differently. And you know what? Some kids do better in a smaller setting, and some kids really, really achieve great things in a huge setting. But to treat the parents a certain way because you don't agree politically with the idea of school choice is just on so many levels wrong by these board members to do. So
hay comentarios que hemos leído aquí en el chat que hay papás, y yo también me siento igual, de que nos tratan diferente porque escogimos una escuela de charter para nuestros estudiantes. Y hay miembros de la mesa directiva que nos tratan diferente a los padres. Y eso no es correcto, no es justo, porque nosotros nomás estamos tratando de que nuestros estudiantes reciban una educación que los va a preparar para el futuro. Y entonces, para que nosotros, si no recibimos eso en el distrito, no deben de juzgarnos o tratarnos diferente porque escogimos una escuela que sí les va a dar esa educación, porque todas las escuelas charters son públicas y ellos deben de servir también esos miembros de la mesa directiva deben de servir y ayudar y apoyar a todas las escuelas públicas y a todas las familias de las escuelas públicas, porque ese es el trabajo de ellos.
So, and I know, Letty, you have personal experiences also with Trustee DiSalvo. If you want to just talk really quickly about some of that.
Yeah, so I met Trustee Joe DiSalvo when I was working with parents in East San Jose to bring Rocket Ship Fuerza to our community. Rocket Ship Fuerza was denied at the district level by Alum Rock, where they said that we didn't need another school in the east side. That was about 6 years ago. And so we appealed to the County Office of Education and received a unanimous approval for our charter. 6 years later, that small little school in East San Jose got the California Distinguished Schools Award this year. So I'm really proud that with the families that we've worked hard to have that school open in our community and to really prove to those people, to the Alum Rock District and to the people that voted against, that were against us, that it is possible for Eastside to have an outstanding school and opportunity for our children to succeed. Our children have the capacity to learn, and we shouldn't lower their expectations. We need to raise their expectations and have the same expectations that any other student in any part of the country. And regardless of race or income, our students have the potential, and we need to believe in our students. And so Trustee Joseph DiSalvo, since day one, has always been very supportive. He's always been very respectful when speaking with us. Every time I reached out to him to speak with parents, he's always makes the time, and he made the time to meet with us even when we're going through our renewal last year. He's always encouraged us, just like Alita had mentioned. He's always inspired us to keep fighting. But one thing that really inspires me even beyond that is that he is an educator himself, and he's the only educator on that at that county board. And so he doesn't just speak for us families at that table. He walks the walk. I actually went to one, I don't know if you remember, Trustee, but Adan invited me to join him at one of your semester classes to talk to your students. It was a social justice. He's really talks about social justice, and he sees then that education is a social justice issue.
Yes,
he discusses that in his classroom with his students. And so as a professor that brings, community leaders into his classroom so that his students hear firsthand the struggles and what we go through and our families are going through, so that they can themselves see that education is a social justice issue. We need to close the achievement gap. We need to make sure that all students are receiving a high quality education. And so he does above and beyond what he says at that table, and he really defends our families. He stands up against the status quo. Mm-hmm. And that's what inspires me about him, and that's why I always have supported him. And even though I have moved away now from San Jose, I just recently relocated, and I support him because I've seen firsthand how he cares about our families and about all students, to make sure that all students are receiving a high quality education. So rapidito nomás en español, de que yo conocí al señor DiSalvo hace como 6 años cuando estábamos tratando de abrir nuestra escuela en el este de San José, Rocket Ship Fuerza, y tuvimos que ir por el proceso porque el distrito de Alum Rock nos negó la escuela. No pensaba que nuestros estudiantes ocupaban otra escuela, y tuvimos que ir a la mesa directiva del condado para que nos puedan aprobar, y recibimos la aprobación. Pero desde el principio, cuando contactamos a nuestro DiSalvo para que se reúna con nuestros padres para conocernos, él siempre ha sido amable, él siempre ha sido respetuoso, él siempre ha hecho el tiempo para realmente reunirse con nosotros, y siempre nos ha inspirado a seguir luchando por nuestros hijos. Y una vez yo me acuerdo que fui a su clase porque fue invitada de otra persona para ir a dar para hablar con sus estudiantes sobre la necesidad de luchar por la educación para todos, sino que la educación es algo de una justicia social, sino es algo que se tiene que cambiar, pero tenemos que trabajar juntos para que todos nuestros estudiantes reciban la educación que se merecen. Y eso me inspira porque enseña que él no nomás está ahí en la mesa directiva hablando sobre lo que se tiene que hacer, sino se los enseña a sus propios estudiantes que tienen que luchar, que tienen que trabajar para mejorar el sistema educativo. Entonces, él en la mesa directiva como representante de las familias, él siempre ha apoyado y defiende a nuestras familias. Defiende cuando alguien en esa mesa directiva, sus colegas, dicen algo que no es cierto, dicen algo que es falsedad. Él habla y nos defiende a nosotros los padres y nuestras familias, y es lo que me admiro de él, que porque él él es un campeón, él no tiene miedo de luchar, y es la voz de nosotros.
Yeah, thank you so much. And so, with all of that being said, and with hearing from parents, hearing from community leaders, because Letty is very much a community, Adelita, you too, you're very much community leaders and you're very much lobbyists for a great cause, for your kids, for education. And now, without further ado, let's hear from the man of the hour, Joe. Tell us, this is your
Well,
passion. What has it been like for you over the years on the Board of Education in Santa Clara County?
thank you so much to La Comadre for allowing me this opportunity to speak about something that I'm so very passionate about.
Oops. Sorry.
We good?
I'm trying to put the spotlight on you here.
The quality of public education. It's been an enormous privilege since 2008 during the Obama election in that November of 2008 to be on the ballot at the same time and to be chosen over an incumbent and another challenger to serve on the county board was a gift and a privilege. And I have taken it as that since the first day I was sworn in December of 2008. And for nearly 12 years now, I have served with the interest of the chief stakeholders in the system of public education, and they are students and parents. And of course, it should be students, parents, and faculty and school administration working together collaboratively for the success of each and every student. So I thank you, Adelita, I thank you, Letty, for the very, very generous and kind words that you've expressed. We've been in this together. And unfortunately, it is a fight. It shouldn't have to be a fight, as you've said. It should be those of us who have the attachment to the purse strings of money to be spent in public education and to advocate on a wide basis about what's important. If I might talk about a little bit about my past, can I speak to that?
Let me just translate really quickly what you just said. So,
Please, Letty.
Él ha tenido el privilegio desde el 2008 estar en la misma balota que estuvo el presidente Obama y ganó su asiento que tiene ahorita en la mesa directiva del condado de Santa Clara. Ya casi 12 años que él está en esa mesa directiva sirviendo a todas las familias de San José, del condado de Santa Clara. Desafortunadamente, como habíamos dicho, esto es una pelea que tenemos que seguir peleando para asegurar que nuestros estudiantes reciban la educación que se merecen. Okay? Go ahead.
So, Letty, you spoke about the unanimous vote for Fuerza 5 or 6 years ago. And that's when the county board was functioning in a way to try to really make a difference for the student outcomes and parent choice in Santa Clara County. Because if you look at the data, it's remarkably sad. When you look at the data, the racial achievement gap is over 40 points when you compare Latinx students to their Asian and white counterparts in math and English language arts.
Hace 6 años, cuando recibimos el voto de toda la mesa directiva de Santa Clara, es cuando la mesa directiva estaba trabajando juntos para asegurar que la educación se estaba mejorando en el condado. Ahora vemos los datos y casi como 40 puntos más es la diferencia entre latinos y otros estudiantes que son de anglos y de asiáticos que tienen dinero. Hay una diferencia grande de más de 40 puntos. Okay.
Adelita, thank you for your beautiful words, the courage to fight for what you believed is right, for your children and the children of those who you fought with. It was an amazing process. I know you were turned down by San Jose Unified, and it was 3-3 on a close vote. We only had 6 of 7 members at that time. And then I did advocate for your Promise Academy at the State Board of Education with Grace, along with my colleague Grace Small. And the State Board of Education, appointed by Jerry Brown, Governor Brown, voted unanimously. So the district turned you down. The county office didn't vote on your behalf, but the state board appointed by our governor said, yes, that's exactly the kind of school we want to see. And this law, California, the second state in the nation, 1992, approves a charter school law to allow for this kind of creative energy of parents and community working together to establish schools that could make a difference in that achievement gap that I mentioned a few moments ago. So I started my career, and maybe Letty, did you want to translate?
Yeah, let me translate really quickly. So estaba diciendo que lamenta mucho que la escuela Promise Academy que no se pudo abrir por lo político, las cosas que pasó en el distrito de San José, pero hay que ver eso de que el distrito negó la escuela, el condado fue 3-3 el voto porque un miembro no estaba presente, pero el estado, que fue, los miembros del estado son elegidos por el gobernador, y en ese tiempo esos miembros votaron, todos votaron a aprobar la escuela. So, era una necesidad que se vio y que sería bueno tener una escuela de esa aptitud en la ciudad de San José, pero lamentablemente el distrito negó proveer el edificio y era por ley que tenían que proveerlo, pero hicieron cosas que no fue muy bien y no pudieron abrir. Entonces, él dice que es algo que tenemos que trabajar todos juntos, porque es una ley que se hizo en el 1992 de que se pueden abrir escuelas de opción, que son las escuelas charter, que son públicas, para darles las oportunidades a familias a tener opción en nuestras propias comunidades, para asegurar que tengamos la innovación para poder enseñarles a nuestros hijos en la forma que nuestros hijos deben o pueden estudiar.
Thank you, Letty. I think, Adelita, Promise Academy would be a great case study of the toxic political nature of trying to achieve schools where each and every child succeeds with public dollars. These aren't private schools. There's no privatization. These are California, my taxpayer, your taxpayer dollars that go into a school like Promise Academy that never did open, unfortunately, and a school like Foreza, who continues to excel with the students and staff that they have, Rocket Ship Foreza. But it should not be political. This should not be a war. This should be, as I've advocated ever since being on the board, this should be a collaborative and cooperative effort. All of us, every elected official, every parent, every community leader, working together to solve the issues with the data that hasn't changed in over 40 years. It should be totally apolitical, but we are immersed in a time that gets us away from the goals of that 1992 Act, and it's very unfortunate. I wanted to say one thing about my background. And thank you for mentioning my Justice Studies class, Letty. I have a great group of 44 students right now this semester on Zoom, unfortunately, but it's an amazing group of students studying the race, gender, and inequality issues. And education justice is kind of the foundation.
If it's on Zoom, I can join.
It's on Zoom. I'll give you the link. Wow. So I started my career when I was 23 years old. The first teaching job I was offered after getting my credential, graduating and getting my credential and working on my master's was at Juvenile Hall, Osborne School in Santa Clara County. And my first day after being hired, I was teaching English language arts and a few other, I think, physical education. They had me teach everything when I was a juvenile court school teacher. But the head teacher came into me, Lou Canessa is his name. And he said, "Hey, DiSalvo, by the way, I want you to know that the students you have, this is 1974, the students you have in your classes in juvenile hall read 3 or more years below grade level. I didn't know that. That was new information as a 23-year-old. And I said to myself, well, that, gee, that's fixable. We could make sure that every child knows how to read. Then I learned things as I went as an educator, that if you read on grade level by the end of 3rd grade, you've got a pattern for success for the rest of your life. If you have more than average math skills or average math skills by the time you enter kindergarten, that's also a predictor of success for the rest of your life. So early learning is something I've advocated for. But let me get back to Osborne. I don't know, Letty, do you have to? Maybe I stop there and let you.
Yeah, that would be great. So su primer trabajo como maestro fue en el sistema de cárcel para jóvenes. Y su primer trabajo fue de ser maestro en esa con jóvenes que estaban en la cárcel. Y el director de ese programa le dijo, los estudiantes en tu clase no pueden leer a su nivel. Están bajo el nivel de sus grados como de más de 3 años. Él pensó, bueno, pues eso era nuevo para él, pero dijo, bueno, voy a trabajar con ellos. Pero después se dio cuenta que la educación temprano es esencial para que los niños puedan sino puedan continuar con sus estudios. Okay. Y lo que él se dio cuenta es de que si al 3er grado los estudiantes no están leyendo a su nivel, es también causa de que determinan lo que es su futuro. Y muchos de esos estudiantes a veces caen en las cárceles, en las gangas, en violencia, en cosas que no deben de estar porque se frustran, porque no entienden, porque no saben leer. Entonces es cuando la primera vez que se dio cuenta que este era un problema. Y eso fue en el 1974, que todavía tenemos este problema ahorita. Okay.
Thank you for that. So in 2019, we had a report to the County Board of Education in Santa Clara by the presiding judge of the juvenile court, Judge Catherine Lucero, who swore me into office in 2016. I asked her to swear me into office because I felt like I got to know her because of bringing my justice students there to her court, having her come to my justice studies class. And Judge Lucero told the county board. So remember, in 1974, I was told by Lou Canessa, children in juvenile hall were 3 or more years below grade level. Many of them couldn't even read a restaurant menu. In 2019, in one of the wealthiest areas in the world, presiding judge Catherine Lucero told the county board members, trustees, Madam President, I want you to know that those children that come to juvenile hall read more than 3 years below grade level. And I said to myself, how could that be? How could we know this in 1974 when I first started teaching? And now as a trustee, we have the same thing. And then she said, if we had a Martian come down and land their rocket ship or whatever they were here with in Santa Clara County and went to the ranches where incarcerated youth are and went to juvenile hall where incarcerated youth are, they would conclude that only brown and black kids commit crimes. That's what Judge Lucero said, saying, this is not right. This is not right.
No.
So those who still try to keep us from collaborating and cooperating with public dollars on behalf of each and every child are, to me, criminals for children.
So, lo que les comenté en el 1974, cuando él se dio cuenta de que le dijeron que su primer trabajo de maestro, que los estudiantes no estaban a nivel académico para leer. Muchos de sus estudiantes no podían ni leer el menú de un restaurante. En el 2019, que fue el año pasado, la juez Catherine Lucero fue al condado a decirles a la mesa directiva que los estudiantes que están en Juvenile Hall, en la cárcel, están al nivel, no están al nivel para leer, que estaban atrasados más de 3 años. Y él se quedó pensando, ¿cómo es posible que todos estos años todavía está pasando que los estudiantes no están al nivel para leer? Y ella les dijo, si alguien de afuera viniera de otro planeta, van a pensar que solamente los latinos o personas de color son los únicos que hacen, están en la cárcel, que hacen cosas ilegales. Porque esto lo que ve, sí se ve ahorita el sistema. Entonces, las personas, esto no es correcto lo que dijo la juez, no es correcto y no es justo que los estudiantes no están recibiendo lo académico para poder estar al nivel a leer. Entonces, él dice que las personas, y él siente que las personas que están en contra de asegurar de que nuestros estudiantes están recibiendo una educación adecuada, de que están tratando de luchar en contra para que nosotros podamos para colaborar juntos y en lugar querer quitarnos los fondos, él dice que están haciendo una injusticia a nuestros estudiantes.
Yeah. It's amazing, and it's sad and it's hard to hear. We all know it. We've been knowing it, and we know that the prison pipeline is alive and kicking. But it's people like Trustee DiSalvo, like yourself, Joe, who are working to try to upend that, to try to put an end to it, to increase opportunities for better learning environments, for choices for parents. And we need to appreciate that. And so we do. We appreciate you, the work that you've done, the work that you continue to do. And La Comadre has not typically been an organization that endorses candidates per se when they're running for re-election. But we feel very strongly that the Santa Clara County Office of Education would benefit so much by having you continue as a champion for kids. And so we wanted to put a light on the work that you've done, on the work that you will continue to do, and let our comadres across the state know that we need to help these champions. Where we find them and where we see them, we need to help them stay there, because so many people are working against your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not the case with Trustee DiSalvo. He's working for your kids.
Yes.
So we have to push that out, and we have to support these people. And
So nomás,
that's
sorry,
why this conversation.
Gracias, Tocaya. So estaba comentando nomás que esto es una realidad. Si nuestros estudiantes no están leyendo a su nivel para el 3er grado, ya están haciendo las camas en las cárceles para cuando ellos, para su futuro. Entonces, es esencial de que tengan una educación fundamental al inicio, una fundación primaria donde están ellos yendo a la escuela y recibiendo lo académico que ocupan y leer, que los están enseñando a leer para estar a su nivel. Tenemos esta conversación porque el señor DiSalvo ha sido un campeón para nuestras familias en esa mesa directiva del condado de Santa Clara. Él ha estado abogando, él se enfrenta a los que están en contra de nosotros. Cuando él escucha a su colega diciendo algo que no es cierto, él nos defiende y a nuestras familias, porque él sabe que él conoce los datos y quiere cambiar esos datos, quiere asegurar que nuestros hijos reciban la educación para que esos datos cambien, para que todos reciban la educación que se merecen y que todos nuestros estudiantes sepan las matemáticas, sepan las ciencias y sepan cómo leer. Entonces, la Comadre es una organización que típicamente no se ha involucrado mucho para how do you say endorse, Tocaya? Sorry.
Soportar.
Para apoyar públicamente y oficialmente para apoyar a un candidato que está corriendo para su puesto. Pero en este caso queremos tener esta conversación para que la comunidad sepa que tenemos un campeón en la mesa directiva de Santa Clara y queremos apoyarlo. So, la comadre oficialmente está apoyando para su campaña a Joseph DiSalvo para que mantenga su asiento y mantenga siendo nuestro campeón en la mesa directiva de Santa Clara. Es importante saber lo que ha hecho por todas las familias, todos los estudiantes, y que él está apasionado para que el sistema educativo mejore para todos nuestros estudiantes.
There is a question here from, and I'm looking through and see if I can find some questions. Lorena Solorio asked the question, Trustee, why do other trustees continue to deny the data? Why do they want to close charter schools and send students of color to failing schools? Now, I know you can't speak for your colleagues, but can you answer that?
I will do my best. Special interests hold sway and power over many school board members. And they do because school boards are usually a launching pad to other political offices beyond the school board. Those like in city council or boards of supervisors or assembly or state senate. Usually the first elected office many of those who serve in the assembly and the senate in California had was a school board. So they don't want to alienate special interests that could be helpful in their move up, so to speak, the political ladder. So they play it safe. So we have the most powerful force in the state of California is the California Teachers Association as a union. And I used to be a local chapter president of my own Teachers Association, CTA affiliate. I was president of 400 teachers. So I know the ins and outs of the process of collective bargaining and negotiations and union and CTA as a union. And I'm still in favor of unions. However, when they hold large amounts of money to give to influence politics in the state of California, and they do hold large amounts of money to influence politics, they influence school board members who have the support or want the support of California Teachers Association. So I think primarily that's the reason. And I, fortunately, as a senior citizen, I have I don't want to move to a higher office. This is the highest office I've ever wanted to pursue in my life. Maybe when I was 20, I thought of doing other things politically, but at the moment, this is it.
This makes sense.
This is me. This is what I believe in. This has been my whole life. So I'm not influenced by the money coming from CTA. In fact, in 2008, I did have the Teacher Association support. But now that I've voted on high-performing charter schools to give parents choice and to give students an environment they could thrive within, I'm an enemy of CTA. To me, that's wrong. They didn't endorse me this time around. I went through that endorsement meeting knowing that on Zoom, knowing that I probably wasn't going to get their endorsement, and I didn't. And I'm saddened by that because I believe so much about what they believe, but not using power to influence votes that eventually go against children. So I'll stop there, Letty, for you. I'm sorry.
Thank you. It's okay. So la pregunta que alguien preguntó fue ¿por qué sus colegas en la mesa directiva de Santa Clara, por qué niegan los datos de que hay una diferencia en la brecha académica. ¿Por qué quieren cerrar las escuelas charters para enviar a nuestros estudiantes de color a escuelas que están fallando a nuestra comunidad? So, él no puede directamente hablar por sus colegas, pero él piensa que estando en una mesa directiva de una educación educativa, sea local o sea del condado, a veces es como el primer paso en la carrera político de una persona. Si ven muchas personas que son políticos en el Senado, en la Asamblea del Estado, o en el de alcaldes o del concejal de ciudades, muchos de ellos han sido miembros de una mesa directiva local de educación. So, a veces lo usan esa plataforma para iniciar su carrera política. Y muchos no quieren aislar o hacer algo que va en contra de intereses especiales.
Yeah.
Intereses especiales que tienen dinero para poder darles a sus campañas y en el futuro cuando quieren hacer algo más grande. En el estado de California, la organización más poderosa donando a campañas políticas es la Unión de Maestros de California. Ellos donan a personas que piensan que van a hacer lo que ellos pidan, que tienen el su interés personal de esa unión. El señor DiSalvo hace tiempo fue presidente de su unión de maestros, que son afiliados con la Unión de Maestros de California, del estado. Él todavía está en favor de uniones. Él piensa que las uniones están bien, pero no está de acuerdo que utilicen su poder para su propio interés y influenciar las campañas para asegurar que hagan lo que quiere ese interés y no lo que es necesidad de la comunidad. Él no quiere seguir. Él ahorita está bien estando en el condado de Santa Clara. Él no tiene planes de querer postularse en otra posición política. So, para él, el dinero no lo está influenciando, sino él está allí porque quiere hacer una diferencia y apoyar a nuestras familias. Él quiere continuar para ser nuestra voz en la mesa. Y en el 2008, la Unión de Maestros de California sí lo apoyaron en su campaña, pero esta vez no. Y para él, no quiere, él lo ve ahora como que ellos son el enemigo, porque no están queriendo colaborar para trabajar juntos, sino nomás quieren asegurar su propio interés y no lo que ven, lo que es necesario para asegurar que nuestros estudiantes tengan la educación que se merecen.
Okay, I just want to say, Letty, you're awesome. Like,
You're awesome.
so great. Thank you so much for translating. So one of the last things that I want to touch on just briefly, and really I just want to make the commentary and then I'll let you if you want to, but there are some things that when you run for school board in any community and you're a champion for parents and students and things that are true and right, and you're not a sellout and a vendido to the CTA, local teachers unions, you are going to face some pushback. But here's what I absolutely abhor in some things that are happening today, not just in Santa Clara County, but really across other boards in California. If you are a woman and you are Latina and you want to run for a seat and you get elected, then you chose to put yourself in that hot seat. You chose to play in the mud with other people who may not agree with your positions. So you can't cry foul every time you don't get your way, because that just makes it look like we as Latinas, that we as women can't sit at the table and have a heated conversation and debate, because that's what it is. If you're going to cry like a little to the kitchen, I don't want you representing me. Like, let's just make this clear. Latinas, women, that is not enough to make you a legitimate representative of your community. You got to be more than that. You got to come with more than that. And from what we have seen, Representative and Trustee DiSalvo is an ally to people of color, to parents, and to the community. And we have to appreciate that, even if it means that he beats a Latina for that seat. Because you know what? We're not going to support every Latina just because of her DNA. Sorry.
So you want to translate that yourself?
There are things that are happening that are not acceptable. You cannot someone just because they are speaking their mind and speaking it for parents.
Yes.
So that, I don't know, translate that, Letty.
Are you sure you don't want to translate that? I can't translate your passion. So, un buen punto que estaba diciendo mi tocaya. You know, queremos estar en la mesa. Hay un dicho de que queremos estar en la mesa para estar en las decisiones que afectan a nuestros hijos. Y no vamos a esperar a que los inviten, si vamos a traer nuestra propia silla si es necesario. Y es lo que estamos haciendo cuando estamos abogando, cuando estamos luchando en la comunidad para que, y vamos a las agencias para luchar por nuestras escuelas. Es lo que estamos haciendo. Estamos trayendo nuestra propia silla a esa mesa para que nos escuchen. Pero cuando hay una latina que está en esa mesa directiva, o cuando llegamos cuando los apostulamos, si una latina se apostula a una mesa directiva, y tenemos que estar allí, si alguien no acepta tu opinión o tu comentario y te dice lo contrario, no hay que nomás empezar a llorar o empezar a echar el dedo de que esa persona me trató mal, o esa persona me ofendió, o esa persona, no, porque si estamos en esa mesa directiva es porque vamos a estar allí y sabemos que no todos van a apoyar nuestros comentarios. Y si alguien está diciendo algo en contra porque saben que eso no es cierto, y ahora van a decir, es que me ofendió, y lo van a decir ya años después, que se ofendió, que esto, que el otro. No están allí para nuestros hijos, están allí por su interés personal. Y no nomás porque una persona es latina o latino, tenemos que votar por ellos. Tenemos que ver qué es lo que están haciendo en esa posición. Si es alguien nuevo, tenemos que ver cuáles son sus posiciones, quién nos está apoyando con dinero en su campaña, porque quiere decir que van a tener ese interés a esa organización. Entonces hay que ver todos esos detalles para conocer quiénes son, no nomás porque son latinos o latinas, van a hacer lo que es mejor para nuestras familias. Entonces es algo importante que tenemos que hacer, tenemos que ver y conocer las personas con las que vamos a votar. Y el señor DiSalvo ha sido el campeón para nosotros familias en esa mesa directiva. En su posición, él siempre ha escuchado a familias y ha tenido conversaciones honestas con familias. Él viene y ha sido respetuoso y nos inspira para seguir luchando y trabajando juntos, colaborar. Y él hace lo que es posible para seguir luchando por nuestros hijos. Entonces, él no es latino, pero defendiendo a nuestros estudiantes latinos y a todos los estudiantes, especialmente los que están de los ingresos de bajos recursos. Entonces, hay que no nomás votar porque uno es latino, sino realmente luchar y saber quiénes son y quiénes están haciendo o quiénes son los que los están apoyando con ese interés personal. Thank you. I didn't say it with so much passion of yours.
Okay, I'm just drives me nuts because it gives less credibility to women candidates when they, complain every time a man says something they don't agree with.
One quick thing. So lo que dijo Docay ahorita, que también que las mujeres en general, mujeres latinas, mujeres de cualquier raza, No debemos estar quejándonos de cada vez que un hombre nos dice, no esté de acuerdo con algo que nosotros estamos diciendo, porque eso nos da mala impresión de nosotros las mujeres, de que no tenemos lo suficiente para poder estar allí y poder hablar y luchar por lo que es necesario. Thank you.
Yeah. So, last remarks, Joe. Go ahead and really quickly. Rosemary Scott made you an honorary Latino, and I agree.
Yes.
So Joe, let us know before we head out.
Accept it with humility. I am. It's really a privilege to be with you all this morning. I appreciate your one of the first endorsements you've ever made. I know that I'm a white privileged male. I educate my students about white privilege and male privilege, and white male privilege was the highest as far as privilege. I know that about me. That said, I came from good Italian Sicilian blood who wanted me to be a fighter for others. My high school's motto was be a man for others. I went to an all boys Jesuit high school. And I've tried to live by that motto my entire life. And sometimes it is true. You have to fight for those who at one time you were in simpatico with. And it's in order to break through and have a new day where each and every student receives the education they deserve in all of our communities. But the one I'm most interested in is Santa Clara County. And I will continue, if reelected, to work in that way, to have that voice for children and parents as loud as I can make it and as experienced as I am with it. I know the system's been rigged far too long, and I will continue to work to unrig the system for parents and students. And I so appreciate this Saturday. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, el señor DiSalvo dice que agradece mucho la oportunidad de estar aquí, la oportunidad de servir en la mesa directiva. Él sabe que es un privilegio el estar aquí con todos ustedes, pero él sabe que también él tiene el privilegio de ser anglo, el privilegio de ser hombre. Pero él también enseña en su clase a sus estudiantes sobre ese privilegio que sí existe, y él lo reconoce, él trata de hacer lo que es mejor, trata de ayudar a todos y a todos los demás, en especial a las personas en necesidad. Él es italiano, él siempre en su familia le han entutillado de ayudar a los más, a todas las personas, y en especial sabiendo si ha sido las personas de que no tienen algo y uno les puede ayudar, de siempre ayudar y hacer lo que puede por los demás. Para él, seguir en la mesa directiva es seguir sirviendo a la comunidad. Para él es importante que todos los estudiantes reciban la educación que merecen, la educación de alta calidad, pero más que nada en el condado de Santa Clara. Él sabe que el sistema está en contra de nosotros y ha estado en contra de nosotros por generaciones, pero él quiere continuar luchando para mejorar ese sistema, para hacer cambios positivos, para que nuestros estudiantes tengan la esperanza y los futuros estudiantes del condado de Santa Clara tengan la esperanza de tener una educación mejor, un sistema mejor para ellos. And just one last question that a parent really wanted me to ask that was in the chat and I didn't see it. What advice do you have for parents who want to run for school board?
Oh, I encourage them to run. I think to develop your platform, what you and to know the data. So I'd be happy to help. They could reach out to me, and would be an honor for me to help and guide them through the process, because it's an easy process. The ballot statement, my ballot statement is like $5,000. So that's the only cost, is if you wish and to be legitimate, you have to have a ballot statement, according to what I've been told. So whatever that cost is in the school district, it's less than the county office, because the county office is a larger area, about 140,000 registered voters. So I want to encourage all of you. You're really the true champions. and we're moving into a time when even my students want to run for elected office.
Nice.
And it's so important. When you look at the numbers, women are so far behind in numbers. Only 101 out of 435 Congress members, 22 out of 100 senators, 3 out of 9 Supreme Court justices, 33 out of 500 CEOs in Forbes 500 companies. I know these numbers because I just reviewed them with my class. And the more we equal that playing field with women, the better off we all will be. I feel guilty that I'm running against 2 Latina women who I'm sure have the best interest of students at heart. And I'm a white privileged male, but I think my experience is important, particularly at this moment in time in the history of our state and our county. Again, thank you so much. You're the true heroes. You're the true champions, not me. I've been a white privileged male to get here. You're the true champions.
So, dice, la pregunta era de cómo una puede darle una consejos a padres que quieran correr por la mesa directiva, sea local o sea el condado. Él dice que es que realmente los inspira, los apoya para que si lo están considerando que lo hagan, porque y él dice que está dispuesto a ayudarles a los padres que quieran correr por una posición, a postularse por la mesa directiva, para ayudarles a qué pueden hacer, cómo lo pueden hacer. Dice que es un proceso fácil, pero él está más dispuesto de ayudarles y apoyarlos. Él dice que se siente mal que que hay dos mujeres latinas que están ahorita corriendo en contra de él, pero él piensa que su experiencia es lo que es necesario ahorita en este tiempo de este estado. Y entonces, por eso de que él se siente un privilegio, pero quiere seguir apoyando a todas nuestras familias. Entonces, familias, tenemos que votar de nuevo por Joe DiSalvo para asegurar que siga siendo campeón en la mesa directiva del condado de Santa Clara. Entonces, por favor, pasen la voz a todas sus familias y amistades para que voten por el señor Joseph DiSalvo para la mesa directiva de Santa Clara.
Can I say thank you, Leslie. Can I say one thing about Amy Parada? She's been an amazing guide, gentle guide for me with wisdom and intellect to introduce me to you all, La Comadre. So Amy Parada, wherever you are, thank you so much. Muchas gracias.
Okay, so I just want to say thank you to everyone. Adelita, thank you for taking time out this morning to come and speak with us. Thank you so much, Leti. You saved our life by being able to translate to the porque yo soy bien pocha, mi español es muy malo. No quieren saber. Pero thank you so much, Trustee DiSalvo, and thank you for the work that you've done. And thank you for the work that I'm sure that you'll continue to do. And thank you, Comadres out there, for supporting Joe. Pick up phones for him. Go to work for him. What we believe in, the people that we trust with our children. This is important. I believe that local board races are the most important races that you as a parent will completely, you'll see the benefits of that. Your children reap the benefits of that. So we have to support great candidates. So thank you so much for coming.
Gracias a todos.
Know how you want to support him, and we'll help you. We'll put you in the right direction.
Gracias a todos por acompañarnos. Gracias, señor DiSalvo, por estar con nosotros. Adelita, por compartir tu experiencia como mamá. Y recuerden, familias, tenemos que hacer y luchar para seguir, para que nuestros hijos sigan teniendo las escuelas que se merecen en nuestras propias comunidades. Entonces, si quieren apoyar a Joe DiSalvo en su campaña, por favor, se contactan conmigo, con Amy, para que les podamos avisar cómo pueden apoyarlo. Hay mucho que hacer y no va a ser fácil, pero ocupamos la ayuda de todos para que se logre. Gracias.
Okay, guys, have a great day, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.